please tell me, what did I say about white people?
Well,
incorrect.
Again, it's not saying that I'm saying you need to apologize. But for example, you said white people have more like what, chimpanzee DNA in them. Okay, I believe you said earlier.
Now can I pull out? Now can I pull out?
Now I would say Google ghost.
No,
ghost hominid DNA.
Go share my screen. Let me share my screen because I'm going to go to Jeanette. Now I'm finna pull up Jeanette. Wait a minute. Watch this.
Go ahead.
Caucasians share 98% of their DNA with chimpanzees. Here we go.
Okay, now do it for Africans.
Wait a minute. We don't have Neanderthal DNA. If you want to go there, I'll bust you right down. We can talk about how your people introduced the A and B antigens to our bloodstream. We can talk about how you share 98% of your DNA with a chimpanzee, 87% of your DNA with a canine, 14% with a fruit fly, 83% with excuse me. I will bust you down. I will bust you down genetically.
Google ghost hominid DNA. Seriously, Google right now.
What are we even arguing about?
We're a fruit fly? We're a fruit fly? Is that what we are?
So,
I mean, all creatures share like half of their DNA anyway.
No, that's a white people lie that y'all keep telling the world. All creatures do not share it. Let me ask you a question right now. Listen, we've grown. We're not arguing, we've grown, right? What's the first thing that you learn in science class? That a species cannot sexually reproduce with the organism outside its own species. This is a fact, right? Can we agree on that? We can agree on that. Okay, so since we can agree on that, now you have to explain to me, how did you develop the amino acids in the DNA and the proteins in your DNA of a species that you cannot sexually reproduce with? How? How did you become a Neanderthal hybrid? If you cannot sexually, right now, we go have sex with a monkey, you're not gonna get that monkey pregnant. So we wanna know, how did you, Ryan, as a Caucasian, inherit chimpanzee DNA when you cannot sexually reproduce?
Well, they were close enough. Neanderthals and primitive humans were close enough. Same way a white man and a black person can have a baby. It's like they're close.
That's not true.
They're close.
Let me stop you again. White and black people cannot naturally reproduce. Go ask any doctor. You can smile all you want. Let me send you to the hospital. Let me educate you. Go to the hospital right now with any interracial couple, and they're going to tell you that they have to get a Rogam shot. And what the Rogam shot does is it tells the mother's immune system not to terminate the fetus, because the immune system identifies the fetus as a foreign species, because these are two separate species of people trying to sexually reproduce. This is a fact. It's called hemolytic disease and red blood.
There are problems with outbreeding. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, thank you very much. We gotta ask ourselves.
What's happening?
If we cannot sexually reproduce without our bodies trying to terminate the baby on its own, we are not the same species. That don't mean we gotta fight, but we got a question. We gotta start asking ourselves, where the fuck did we really come from, and who the fuck are y'all? And so my main thing when it comes to this situation is, all I'm saying is this: I don't believe in the Bible. I don't believe in the God you trying to tell me to believe in. So outside of that God, all I want white people to do is tell me who they are and where they came from. Who are you, Ryan, and where did you come from? Can you tell me that right now without using the Bible?
Well, yes, my family evolved. My ancestors came from the steppe. They were conquerors. They conquered across the European continent.
Planet, Ryan. How did they get on the planet? Let's not play games. How did the first white person get on the planet?
They were apex predators and still are. They evolved. They moved out from Africa.
No, they didn't. No, you did not. No, you did not. You can't even go to Africa right now. Israel got the second highest skin cancer rate in the world. So
then how do we conquer it 2 centuries ago? How did we conquer the entire continent?
What you're doing right now is you're attempting to get a rise out of me because you're falsely insinuating that your people conquered my people. But I'm not going to fall for that booby trap, and I'm going to stay on point, and I'm going to ask you one more time. Because Ryan, you know I'll beat you up. So you know you didn't conquer him. Don't do that.
Have you ever seen the movie Zulu?
Let's stay on point. How did you? Where did your ancestors come from, Ryan? Where did your ancestors come from? Can you
the steppe.
What animal, and where did that animal come from? Since you evolved from an animal.
Well, I would say primitive hominids.
Okay. Who taught you how to read and write? Where did you get that?
My mother.
Who taught you?
And my father.
Who taught the first? Let's be serious. And listen, if you want to have a serious conversation.
No, you asked literally who taught me how to read and write.
White people. Who taught people how to walk, talk, write, read, cook, bathe, season their food? Who taught y'all math? Who taught y'all science? And who created y'all?
White people.
White people. And who taught black people to read and cook and do science and all that?
Listen here. I'm gonna say
Show me white people.
I'm gonna say this.
Let him answer.
Andy, you weren't in this conversation this whole time.
I'm just fucking around.
I'm
just fucking around.
No.
You're not ad-libbing because I'm talking to Ryan.
That's fair.
Okay.
I'm talking to Ryan. In all seriousness, you know that according to the Australian Research Center for Ancient DNA, that Caucasian genes are no more than 6,000 years old. And I hope that you also know, because if I'm not mistaken, I believe you have blue eyes. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
They're green, but close enough.
Okay. So also, since we talk
Mine
about
are
blue
blue,
eyes,
by the way.
so since we're talking about blue eyes is also a genetic defect from ancestral breeding. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because you still have not definitively, outside of being sarcastic, told me where your people come from ancestrally. Now you are assuming that you evolved. You have not proved it. That's the point I'm trying to make. You're telling me something that you are giving me no evidence of. So all I'm saying is this. Genetics proves there were no white people on the planet before 6,000 years old. Genetics also proves that you contain antigens and proteins from animal species that you should not naturally be able to sexually reproduce with. So who you are has still not been identified to be properly. Now, what you're going to try to do as a white person is you're going to try to say God created us all equal. Obviously, that's not true. So when I
agree. I actually agree with that.
So when I scrap that and I ask you, show me scientifically and match it with history where you come from, you cannot do that. And that is the point I'm trying to make. And I'm gonna end here.
Honestly, I feel like we agree on so many things. I see myself in you. Like, so much of what you're saying like resonates with what I believe. Just like we're coming from a different perspective, you know?
I'm gonna get right to it. I don't even want to say do you believe? Do you understand that extraterrestrials exist?
I mean, I don't necessarily believe in aliens, but
okay. Now I'm gonna bring this up, right? People are waiting for a savior, whether it's Jesus, whoever. Technically, they waiting on an alien. I'm gonna tell you how. If you waiting on somebody to come out of the sky and come into this planet, that's called an extraterrestrial because they got to come from outside the atmosphere, inside the planet. Then you waiting on a savior to come with chariots. If I ask the average Catholic, Christian, or Muslim, or whatever, the average monotheistic subscriber, what is the material that the chariots that your savior are going to be coming back on? They're going to say, I don't know, which means technically that's an unidentified flying object. So people say they don't believe in extraterrestrials, but you waiting on an entity to come from outer space on an unidentified object you've never seen and take you to a place that you've never been. So my point is this: somebody's telling the truth and somebody's lying. Somebody's real and somebody's not. And I got a hunch that I'm on the right motherfucking track. And I know who's on the planet Earth lying to everybody about who the fuck they say they are. And with that being said,
who is it?
We know. But look, go ahead.
I think we all know that.
Now look, let me ask you. Go ahead. There's a few super